I'm going to discuss about the prehistoric eras. So in prehistoric eras, there are 5 periods. First, we have the Paleolithic period. So paleo old and lithic means stones. So it is the old stone age. And then we have the Mesolithic. Meso means middle and lithic means stone. So it is the Mesolithic period. And then we have the Neolithic. So neo, which means new, and then lithic means stones. So it is the new stone age. And then we have also the 2 periods. So these are the Bronze Age. So these are the alloy metals that are made in tin and copper. And then we have also the Iron Age. So Iron Age, these are those cutting tools and weapons that are made in iron or steel. So the longest phase of Stone Age, known as the Paleolithic period. So it is a hunter-gatherer culture which is usually divided into 3 parts. So number 1 is the Lower Paleolithic, and then Middle Paleolithic, and then the Upper Paleolithic. So after this comes a transitional phase called the Mesolithic period, sometimes known as Epipaleolithic. So ending with the spread of agricultures, followed by the Neolithic period, which witnessed the establishment of permanent settlements. So the Stone Age ends as stone tools become superseded by the new products of bronze and iron metallurgy, and is followed by the Bronze Age and Iron Age. So first, the Paleolithic period, from 2,500,000 to 10,000 BCE. So this period is divided into 3 subsections. So the Lower Paleolithic, Middle Paleolithic, and Upper Paleolithic. So each marking advances among different human cultures. So in essence, Paleolithic man lived solely by hunting and gathering, while his successors, during the later Mesolithic and Neolithic times, developed systems of agriculture and ultimately permanent settlement. So the Lower Paleolithic era, so from 2,500,000 to 200,000 BCE. So this is the earliest period of the Paleolithic age. So it runs from the first appearance of man as a tool-making mammal to the advent of important revolutionary and technological changes, which marked the start of the Middle Paleolithic. So it witnessed the emergence of 3 different tool-based cultures. So number 1, we have the Old One culture, which is from 2,500,000 to 1,500,000 BCE. And second is the Acheulean culture, so from 1,750,000 to 100,000 BCE. And lastly is the Platonian culture, which is from 400,000 to 300,000 BCE. So in a sense, stone tools represented the art of this period. It's the key form of creative human expression. So the earliest recorded examples of human art were created during the Lower Paleolithic in the caves and rock shelters of central India. So they consisted of a number of petroglyphs of 14 copials and an engraving or groove discovered during the 1990s in a quartzite rock shelter, so auditorium cave, so at Bhimbetka in central India. So this rock art dates from at least 290,000 BC. So the next oldest prehistoric art from the Lower Paleolithic comes almost at the end of the period. So the 2 primitive figurines, so the Venus of Berekhat found on the Golan Heights, and the Venus of Tantan, discovered in Morocco, were dated to between roughly 200,000 and 500,000 BC. The next, we have the Middle Paleolithic era, so which is between or from 200,000 to 40,000 BC. So the Middle Paleolithic period is the second stage of the Paleolithic era, so which is applied to Europe, Africa, and Asia. So the dominant Paleolithic culture was Mousterian, so a flake tool industry largely characterized by the point and side scraper associated in Europe with Homo neanderthalensis. Then one of the few works of art, of known art, dating from the Middle Paleolithic is the pair of ochre rocks, so decorated with abstract cross-hatch patterns found in the Blumbus Caves east of Cape Town. So they are one of the oldest examples of African art and have been dated to 70,000 BCE. So after Blumbus comes the Dick Loft eggshell engravings, so dated to 60,000 BCE. So it is probable that towards the end of the Upper Paleolithic, human artists began producing primitive forms of oceanic art in the Pacific area, and very early types of tribal art throughout Africa and Asia. So, although little has survived, then the last age or period or era of Paleolithic is the Upper Paleolithic era. So the Upper Paleolithic is date back from 40,000 to 8,000 BCE. So the Upper Paleolithic is the final and shortest stage of the Paleolithic age. So when referring to Africa, it is more commonly known as the Late Stone Age. So it is in addition to more specialized tools in a more sophisticated way of life. So Upper Paleolithic culture spawned the first widespread appearance of human painting and sculpture, which appeared simultaneously in almost every corner of the globe. The known arts are, during this period, it witnessed the beginning of fine art, featuring drawing, modeling, sculpture, and painting, as well as jewelry. So personal adornments and early forms of music and dance. So the 3 main art forms were cave painting, rock engraving, and miniature figurative carvings that begins during this era. Cave art first appeared, so in the early Eurasian culture. So as exemplified by the dots and hand stencils of the El Castillo cave paintings, date back 29,000 BC. So the stencils and animal images in the Sulawesi cave art, then the figurative Fumane cave paintings, and the monochrome Chobit cave paintings of animals, then are the known arts or cave artworks during this period. So there are also another known artworks like the examples of Gravitian art, so include the prehistoric hand stencils at the Coscor cave and the Rocador cave, then and also in the polychrome charcoal in the ochre images at Pic Marley, then and Cognac cave. Then during this period also, in the Solutrean period, prehistoric painters influenced by the late Gravitian tradition so began work on their magnificent polychrome images of horses, bulls, and other animals in the cave or in the Lascaux cave. So another artworks is the Magdalenian cave painting is well represented by the polychrome images of bison, of deer at Altamira cave in Spain. So during also the Upper Paleolithic, these are the art or known artworks and cultures during this Upper Paleolithic period. So we have the Aurignacian culture, so about 40,000 to 26,000 BCE, which where the Aurignacian art comes. So Aurignacian art also witnessed the first significant manifestations of the fine art, painting, and sculpture, a phenomenon which continued throughout the rest of the Upper Paleolithic era. So the notable examples include the red abstract symbols at El Castillo, so the monochrome cave murals at Chobet and Coliboya, and the early verse Venus figurines from across Europe. Other Aurignacian rock art included hand stencils, finger tracings, engravings, and bas reliefs. And during this period of Upper Paleolithic era, we have also the Gravitian art, which originates from Gravitian culture. So it is immensely rich in both cave painting and portable sculpture works. So the most famous Gravitian culture consists of Venus figurines. During this era also we have the Solutrean art, originate from Solutrean culture. Solutrean art is noted above all for its achievements in engraving and relief sculpture. So the fabulous rock engravings, and this we have also the Magdalenian art, which is originated from Magdalenian culture. So Magdalenian art attach of importance like of aesthetic objects such as personal jewelry, ceremonial accessories, we have clothing, and especially fine art. Ceramic also appeared in Europe, so during this era. So the culture of during this era, which is the Magdalenian culture, people are easily appreciated by studying the upsurge of drawing, painting, relief, sculpture of the period. And next, the Mesolithic era. So this period is a transitional era between the ice-affected hunter-gatherer culture of the Upper Paleolithic and the farming culture of the Neolithic. So during this era, this is the start of the Chinese pottery. So the famous works of art from this period is like the artwork Cueva de las Manos, which is the cave of the hands. And then its types is the stencils of hand pigments on rock. Then also we have Bimbitica rock art, which is a paintings and stencil art. And then we also have the paintings on pockmarked hills, which is the pigments of sandstones, and many more. So the Neolithic era is actually the beginning of Neolithic art in China. So from 7,000 to 2000 BC. So the major form of Neolithic art was ceramic pottery. Oven fixed pottery appears in Mesopotamia, where farming begins. Then people settle on the banks of the River Nile, and then Coldstream, Boreal Stone, Western Cape Province. We have South Africa, Goddess terracotta figurine, Cataluyok, Anatolia, an early example of religious art.
One of you to discuss about cave paintings. Cave paintings are a type of aerial art found on the walls or ceilings of caves. Back to the Ice Age, the cave paintings were discovered 14,000 years ago. Cave paintings were mostly made by Homo sapiens. Most examples of cave paintings have been found in France and Spain, but a few are also known in Portugal, England, Italy, Romania, Germany, Russia, and Indonesia. Here are some examples of cave paintings. First example, Sulawesi by Sanjay P.K., found in Indonesia. This painting is about the 7 caves on the island of Sulawesi that contains stenciled handprints and executive drawings of the fruit-eating pigs called babiruses. Second example is the Tadrak Anakos by Jean Trudel, found in Libya. This painting is about this parched land, a time when water and vegetation are plentiful. Some animals like giraffe, rhinos, and crocodiles roam across this land.
Paintings may have begun in the Aurignacian period and reached its apogee in the late Magdalenian. Most common themes cave paintings are large wild animals such as bison, horses, aurochs, deer, and facing human hands, as well as the abstract patterns called finger flottings. These paintings were emerged because of what they had seen or what they had experienced, and in the time of prehistoric, paintings are used for communication. Many paintings were drawn with red, yellow, ochre, hematite, manganese, oxide, and charcoal.
The Egyptian art is considered to be one of the most influential and highly aesthetic art styles ever developed in the world. It inspired a lot of artistic styles during the Renaissance and the contemporary arts period, especially in Greek and in Romantic arts. The period of Egyptian art lasted from about 3000 BC to 30 BC and was generally divided into three kingdoms: the Old Kingdom, Middle Kingdom, and the New Kingdom. Their heavy reliance on symbolism that depicts how their life works during those times is clearly evident on their works, especially on their paintings and portraits. Due to the long years of civilization, it is no longer surprising why a lot of innovations and advancements, especially in the fields of arts and structures, had developed during the Egyptian era. For instance, the world's first script writings called the hieroglyphs, the first solar calendar, and first individual portraits was created by the Egyptians.
The style includes the paintings, the sculptures, drawing on papyrus, jewelries, ivories, and architectures, and also other art media. The style of Egyptian era is more likely about the afterlife of the Egyptians. Much of surviving and comes from the tombs and monuments, that giving more insight regarding the afterlife of, the afterlife belief of the ancient Egyptian. So there are 10 popular examples of the styles for the Egyptian era, and I have only chosen 5 examples from out of 10. The first one is the Ramesses, the Great Battle of the Poor. Ramesses was one of the greatest pharaoh who have ever ruled in ancient Egypt. His reign saw many historic campaigns and events, which were well documented in many statues, scriptures, and paintings, and also other artifacts from that era. So this style is found in the tombs of pharaohs. It can be found in pharaoh's tombs. So this artwork was this was being shown the raid of the king, the Egyptian kings being raid against the resurgent Hittite forces of Mawatali. And the next popular example of the Egyptian artwork is the Battle of Nubia. So this is also about King Ramses, because King Ramses fought numerous wars during his reign and emerged victorious from most of his wars or battles that causes the expanding of the vast of Egyptian. He is often celebrated as the most powerful and the most celebrated pharaoh in ancient Egypt. His battle against the Nubians, a 200-year-old wealthy civilization, stands well in the above of papyrus painting. This artwork can be found today in archaeological remains. And the next example is the funerary. This is when the concept of an afterlife was crucially important rather than, it is crucially important in the religion and rituals in the Egyptian Egyptian era. When a person dies, it is in the funerary, or where the deities would decide whether the dead would get a chance from either a resurrection, or if the person died, he would be given a chance regarding with the resurrection, depending on the decision of the deities if he would continue the afterlife or not. And the next one is the tomb paintings. The Egyptians made one of the most beautiful and most elaborate tombs in the pharaohs. Ancient Egypt posted the remarkable artworks in their era, and one of the proof of that one is the pyramids. This particular painting in the tomb of Ereneter depicts the standing of the barge of the Phoenix, the symbol of the god of the Hellespont. So just a heads up, most tombs have a numerous relatable in the lives of the deceased people, depending on their journey throughout in their entire life. Some of the well-known artists for the Egyptian artwork are Aya Tarek, Lamia Amin, and Youssef Marabi, and there are also other famous Egyptian artists, including Imad Ibrahim Al-Awad and El Ten.
The main theme of the ancient Egyptian art is religion. They make their gods and goddesses to be the subject of their arts. They also use some Egyptian figures which are in human forms. They tend to do this because the Egyptians believes about life after death, and they believe that the dead will bank in their arts and become their company in the other world.